Would you look at that, guys? Yes, I know it's beautiful, but that only means one thing. The cold weather is starting to roll in here, and driving season for Simon is just about over with. It's about time to put him down for hibernation. Hey guys, good to see you again. Thanks for joining me back here on the channel. Today we're going to discuss more ethanol. If you've been following, you know I put a ethanol sensor in Simon here, and what that ethanol sensor will do is read the amount of ethanol that is in the fuel. And what I showed you guys over here on the laptop is I have an ethanol percentage gauge right up here. When the fuel system is running, tell me how much ethanol is in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to key Simon on, and I'm going to turn the fuel pump on and get the system flowing, just to get it all flowing again, and try to get more of a consistent ethanol reading so we can actually see what it is. Because I've noticed sometimes when I first start the car that it does seem to change a little bit, then it kind of evens and levels back out. I think that's probably because there's either maybe an air pocket maybe possibly in the system, or maybe just from setting it's possible that maybe some of it does evaporate out. So we're going to key Simon on. Hold on. And then I'm going to come over here. We're going to go back to Cannabis and test modes. I think it was output 1.0. We are going to enable the test here, and we are going to turn the fuel pump on and listen to the wonderful humming. And we'll keep an eye on this. Right now it says 55% ethanol, and we'll watch that and see if it goes down. I thought I was running roughly 42%, but I might have mixed some more in. Looks like it's kind of holding at 55%, but I've only had it running for a couple seconds. And while we're letting it circulate, I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to be doing here today. I've got this test tube here. So we're going to start playing some scientist. I'm going to be a mad scientist. Am I actually a scientist if I don't have the lab coat and the goggles? We don't know. But this is just a test tube. And what this test tube is designed for is to test the ethanol content that's in the fuel. So I'm going to compare this to what the sensor has to read, and then I'll let you guys decide which one you think is correct, if they're off, or if not, maybe they'll be on, and we'll have a little verification that the sensor is working. What I did earlier with this test tube is I did try it, and I actually tried it wrong. I actually gave it to a friend of mine because I bought this a while back, you know, one of my eBay purchases when I was considering putting a flex fuel sensor on here. And at that time I didn't know that the flex fuel sensor would actually read and tell me how much ethanol is in there. But I purchased this from eBay, and I loaned it to a friend. I said, hey, Doug, go try this out. I know you like to run that rec fuel. Let's verify that there's no ethanol in that rec fuel. Because lately I've been hearing from a couple different sources that they do put ethanol in rec fuel. So I wanted to find out for sure. So he took it home, he filled it up, and we basically just filled it to the top line here, because this didn't come with any instructions. Or if they did come with instructions, I misplaced them. Because you know my saying, instructions are just somebody else's opinion. But sometimes they're right. He took it home, filled it up, and let it sit for about a week, and there was no color change in here. You know, there's supposed to be a color change in here letting you know what the ethanol content is. So he brought it back and told me what he came up with, and said there must not be any ethanol in my rec fuel because nothing happened. So I took it home, and I'm like, I'm going to test this, you know, because I know my sensor on Simon here is telling me at that particular time was 35 to 40% ethanol. So I'm going to try this out. So I grabbed some of the fuel I was using, filled it up, you know, we cleaned it all up and make sure it was dry so we could get a good reading, and I set it on my shelf for a couple weeks, and nothing changed. So I did a little research and found that I was doing it wrong. So I'm going to show you how properly done. So yeah, here's just one of those incidents, and don't do what Clinton does. So hold on, I'm going to get the ingredients needed and show you how this works. All right, so it's still holding at 55.7% and really hasn't changed. So let's shut this down because we don't need that anymore as we move on to the next test. All right, so of course the one ingredient is the fuel. And if you're wondering why there's a big K on here, it's another one of those things that don't do what Clinton does. Years ago, I bought a kerosene heater, and I thought I could just put a K on here and put kerosene fuel in it, but gas station didn't like it. So now I just identify this as my racing fuel, so I don't mix it up. So I've got two other jugs that look just like this. The main ingredient and how this actually works is water. So yeah, we were wondering on here, it says water line. Oh, I didn't know what the water line really meant, but we're gonna fill up to that water line, and then the rest up to where it says fuel line. And then basically we're going to shake it vigorously, set it down. And the instructions I got from the other gentleman was drink a beer. So let's get to mixing. I know this kind of looks like a big container, but doesn't take much to fill it real quickly. So we'll try to do this and not go over the line. Oops, look at that. I already went over the line. Like I said, it doesn't take much. And that looks pretty good. The camera angle may throw it off a little bit, but I'm right on there. Let's try the other camera. Let's see. Focus, 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 focus. There we go, water line. Now the next step, use caution. Because you know we are dealing with fuel, and fuel is highly flammable. I like the smell of this fuel. I try to go really slow. It's a heavy container. I'm gonna have to do this differently. I have to use two hands. Come on, where you at? I know there's some fuel in there. I can hear it. And of course I dribble it all over the place. Kind of overfilled it. I'm gonna take a little bit out. It's probably gonna ruin my reading some. Yeah, that's just like that. Drip it all over the place. And just like the instructions said, shake it vigorously. You can see it's already kind of changed color. And as you set it down, it's already starting to separate. But we have to let it sit. Like I said, drink a beer. Since I'm not a beer drinker, I'm gonna drink water. But I'm not stopping you guys from drinking your beer or whatever type of beverage you wanna have. Good stuff. It's been about 5 minutes, and you could probably let it sit a little longer, but I can already see that it's kind of settled in enough to where we can get our reading here. And I'll show you here. Got it as articles. Looks like it's reading about 45%. And it may settle a little bit more. I'll probably leave it here a little longer and see if it does, but it's about 10% different from what's in Simon there. But yeah, you know, I had that little accident at the beginning, so honestly, to be correct, I probably should redo it, but I'm not all that worried about it. I just wanted to kind of show you guys, you know, on not what to do. You know, don't be like me, you know, read some instructions, you know, and maybe get a better reading. And what I did learn is everybody always goes, ethanol, you know, it's corrosive. Honestly, ethanol isn't what's corrosive. It's the water. When you have the ethanol in a sealed container, you know, it's fine, but when you open it up, you start to expose it to water. So it starts gathering the water, and then that combination is what is corrosive. And I still come to understanding on how this works. What we got here, why you need the water, and you have your baseline there, is the ethanol and the water both have hydrogen atoms in them. And when you get the hydrogen atoms, you know, they kind of come together. That's what's happening there. Apparently in the gasoline there's no hydrogen, so it stays suspended. But then when you add that water, all of a sudden all the ethanol goes to the water. So that's why the line goes up. So now what I need to do is give that back to my buddy Doug. And this is delivery Doug, not fishing Doug, not Kung Fu Doug, not knife Doug, but delivery Doug. It's another friend. I got a couple friends named Doug. But I got to give it back to him so he can retest his recreational fuel and see if there's any ethanol in that. Yeah, so had any thoughts or questions, put them down in the comments. Tell me what your experiences has been with ethanol. So far, Simon's really liking it. I'm just hoping, I don't have any problems in the near future. I'm already to the understanding that I probably have to upgrade the fuel pump so I have an ethanol-friendly fuel pump. And if you guys have been following along, I need the larger fuel injectors too. But yeah, keep cruising, keep shifting gears, and always enjoy the ride. We'll see ya.